It might be something big, it might be nothing. What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is web series we're talking about Transformers last night. This is episode number 150. First thing I'd like to say is thank you so much for all your support at this channel. This web series is up to 150 episodes. The Road to TF5 is 150 episodes strong, and it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I started this web series back in August 8th of 2014, immediately when I was done talking about Transformers Age of Extinction, so I started this web series. There's still 2.5 months to go before the release of Transformers last night, so I got a lot of exciting content for you guys, and it's all because of you guys showing me all this support, and I really appreciate it. There's another web series going on. I'm only up to one episode, and that's called Bumblebee's Journey, and that basically covers the production of the Bumblebee spin-off film up to the release of the film when it comes out in summer of 2018, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Anyways, in this episode, I'd like to talk about the toys. We've been spending so much time talking about the marketing. We gotta talk about the toys, because the toy release is something that I'm also highly anticipating, because I do want to add some of those to my collection, so we got to talk about that. But before we talk about that, I just want to throw something out there. You know, the Transformers Last Night app that you can download to your mobile device? I was checking it out, and there's a lot of history that is explained about the Cybertronians and some of the races outside of the Cybertronians. That history dates back to millions and millions and even billions of years ago. So it's quite an extensive history. However, as I was reading it, I was just thinking that, wait a minute, some of this content, like these events, don't actually coincide very well with the events of what we've seen in the last 4 films. They just don't. There's a bit of a, I guess, continuity issues there. So I was a little bit concerned about that, and I was just thinking to myself, wait a minute. I don't think that whoever put together this content for the history of the Transformers actually was part of the writer's room, which is entirely true. You think they put a team of developers into the writer's room? No, they didn't. But did they actually put the writers with the team of developers to work together? I don't think so. I just don't think that is true. The writers in the writer's room were put together because they were there to create the Transformers cinematic universe moving forward. So what they did was they look at the last 4 films, they look at the comics, they look at the cartoons, and then based on that source material, they were able to come up with the Transformers cinematic universe. However, I don't think that they spent too much time talking about the grand history of the Transformers, and I don't think that there was any communication between the app developers and the writers' room to exchange information about the history of the Transformers. The team of developers were just there to create content for the sake of the fans. I mean, there's still 2.5 months to go, so the information that is presented on the app is really just there to hold us over, just to make us think and make us, stay busy with content, just like what I'm doing right now. So I don't really think that the events of the history of Transformers actually connects entirely accurately with the Transformers cinematic universe. So just read it and take it with a grain of salt. It's fun to read, it's very, very interesting, and I like what they're doing there. I really appreciate the time they spent working on the history, but if you go without reading the history of the Transformers, it's fine. It's totally fine. You don't have to know everything that happened based on what they've discussed in the app, because I really don't think that Sir Edmund Burton, played by Anthony Hopkins, is going to explain all that detail. So there you have it. I'm just throwing it out there. You guys could disagree with me all you want, but this is just what I personally believe. Anyways, moving on. Just want to throw that out there. We got to talk about the toys. A lot of toys to talk about, so I want to give a big shout out to Aaron Fixter, because he shared with me a couple of photos that I thought are things that I might be interested in, such as these die-cast vehicles for the vehicles in Transformers Last Night. We have Optimus Prime with a Transformers Last Night trailer, Bumblebee Barricade, there's Lockdown on the back, and let's take a closer look at them. There's Lockdown and Barricade, and those look alright. I'm not actually sure what scale that is, but they look alright. But I really like Crosshairs and Bumblebee. As a matter of fact, if they're like this scale, I'm not sure what scale that is, maybe 132. If they're this scale, I wouldn't mind picking these guys up, because based on what I see, I like what I see. I think that's the bottom of the vehicle, and it basically gives you the robot mode of the character, and we already know which character that is, but it's a little bit of a design bonus that you get if you purchase one of these. Let's take a closer look at Optimus Prime, and he looks so good. If you want to have an Optimus Prime that you want to keep in the robot mode, I think this is the next best thing, because you can buy this and keep it in the vehicle mode, and you don't have to worry about transforming them, and it looks good. So I like what I see here. So thank you so much, Aaron, for bringing that to my attention. Moving on, let's take a look at some promo art. It's not really promo art, I would say it's some new promotional CG renders, and this looks really, really cool. Transformers, big reveal, Bumblebee, Optimus, Drift, and Squeaks at the bottom. Once again, they're showing this image of Squeaks where he's holding these big guns, and I really don't know how accurate that will be to the movie, because like, where does he pull those guns from? On the next image, it is of Bumblebee, Deluxe Class, the Voyager Class Optimus, and Deluxe Class Drift, and the radio-controlled Squeaks. I don't know if I want that radio-controlled Squeaks. I really don't know. I mean, it could be just a novelty toy that you play with for half an hour and then you never play with it again. But I don't know. I think some people might really enjoy that. As for the rest of them, no to Bumblebee, no to Optimus, maybe on Drift. But I still think that the Drift that I have is still pretty good, that Bugatti Veyron version. So let's talk about something that was really, really interesting. It might be something big, it might be nothing. But anyways, big shout out to Kurt Kutunov for bringing this to my attention. Thanks so much for mentioning this. And that is, excuse me, you have these 4 turbo change. Oh no, sorry, they're not turbo changers. They're Legion class toys for these 4 characters. We got Crosshairs at the bottom, Bumblebee, and then Drift and Megatron. Now, if you take a close look at the package of Megatron, it's got an Autobot symbol. Why would it have an Autobot symbol? Like, something is going on there, and I said it could be something, it could be nothing. When I'm saying that it could be something, it could mean something that connects with the story, meaning that Megatron turns good after Optimus turns bad. I mean, Optimus turns bad, we know that, but it's something that is most likely beyond his control. Like, something has some control over him. Megatron turning good, I don't think that's entirely possible. I don't believe that this is something that suggests that that Megatron is actually turning into an Autobot. I just think that he has a moment in the film which has him doing good. For example, fighting off an evil version of Optimus Prime. So that's what it could suggest. Or it could be entirely nothing, which means that it was a packaging error. So it's one or the other. It could actually just mean that Megatron does something good. After all, we did see in the trailer where he was speaking to a human, perhaps negotiating with him. Like, if you do this for me, I could do this for you, or something like that. Or, I don't know. But it could mean that Megatron is doing something good. But it doesn't necessarily mean that he turns into an Autobot. Or, like I said before, it could mean it's just a packaging error, and maybe if you keep this in the package, it's worth a lot of money. But that's all I gotta say about that. But thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. Speaking of Megatron, new images of Megatron have been presented. They're online, and these were presented at Sabertron.com. And what it is the Voyager class Megatron. Here he is as a robot mode. We've seen this before on display, but these are closer up photos. Check that out. Look at the detail on him. Looks pretty good. And here's some more detail on his head. And I think it's a pretty good head sculpt, but I actually prefer the leader class because not only is it bigger, but I actually like the yellow on his head as opposed to the red. So let's move on and take a look at the vehicle, or rather the jet mode. And this is a good representation of how he is in terms of scale. You can see how big it is based on the size of his hand as he's holding it. And here he is from another angle. And this gives you a really, really good idea of the size. So it just appears to be like like that big, just like a standard Voyager class. And yeah, pretty cool. A lot of detail on him. For a Voyager class, there's a lot of detail. Voyager class is actually a pretty good scale, but if there's two options between Voyager class and Leader class presented to me, I'm going to go with Leader class. So I'm looking forward to that. The next image I want to show you guys is images of Hound. The same person that owns the Voyager Megatron also has a Voyager Hound, and I like the robot mode. I actually like how it looks. I want to show you the back of it. Now this is something that I didn't expect, and that is, you see this double cannon, these twin cannons. It's right on his back, and I can see that it's one piece. At least I believe this is one piece. And when we saw the first images of Hound as a robot mode, we didn't know that there was going to be this big chunk on his back. And that's because we never got to see his back. But now we get to see his back, and it reveals that there's a big chunk in his back. Check out his feet. It shows that the hubcaps, like, are his feet. They flip out from the wheels, and those are his feet. Kind of weird to me. That's a little bit weird. But I still think that it looks pretty good as a whole. Let's check out his vehicle mode. Now, I haven't actually seen the vehicle mode as a toy for Hound, so I was a little bit surprised to see that there are actually guns on his back. I was a little bit surprised by that because I only saw the guns on his back from the turbo changer, and I thought that was just for the turbo changer. That's not the case. It turns out that he will have guns for his Voyager class toy, and based on this image right here, which is a side profile view, that piece, the guns, is actually one piece, as it just pegs onto the back with a single peg. So it's removable, and then once he's a robot, you put it back on his back. So there you have it. It doesn't appear that it does anything else than that. It looks like there's a kind of a swivel so that you can make the gun go up and down so that it's angled. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's something I didn't expect, but it's there. All right, so that's all I gotta say about the toys. I'm getting the Leader class Megatron, and I'm definitely getting that Hound. There are some things that I think are a little bit off about it, like for example the feet, and I'm pretty neutral about the big gun on his back. Like, it doesn't really mean anything to me, but I was just a little bit surprised that it was there. All right, moving on, I would like to mention that Dan Lee, who has been getting all these toys and reviewing them on YouTube, he has done he's done more reviews on the releases. For example, on his channel, you can see that he is talking about a Hound, as well as Voyager class Megatron, as well as the Shadow Spark Optimus Prime. So if you want to check those videos out, make sure you go to his channel. He's there to talk about it. And finally, that's all I have to say in this episode. I gotta give shout outs, okay? So we're gonna start off with this shout out to RJ Veer, or rather Master RJ Veer, and I want you to check out his channel because his latest video is actually this music video that is pretty cool. And I checked it out. I really like it, and I want you guys to check it out. I think some of you guys might have already seen it before because it's a video that was actually re-uploaded from before, but it's back again, and you guys should check it out. So very awesome. Keep up the good work. And also, I want to give a big shout out to Alfonso Peterman. Alfonso is somebody that followed my channel from the very, very beginning when I was doing Transformers Dark of the Moon updates, and he actually sent me a drawing of myself back in 2011 as a show of appreciation for my web series, and I thought that was so awesome. That was such a thoughtful thing to do, so thank you so much, Alfonso, for doing that. And that was 6 years ago, and of course I still have that drawing, and I really appreciate it. Now, Alfonso has his own web series which also talks about Transformers. He's got the Alfonso Nation. I want you guys to subscribe to his channel. The link is on the description box below. And yesterday we actually did a collaboration video, or not yesterday, actually Sunday. Yeah, no, Saturday. On Saturday we did a collaboration video, and we talked about Transformers last night. So I want you guys to check out that video and show some support by hitting that subscribe button and let them know that I brought you there. Go in the comment section of that video and provide some feedback about what we talked about, what we discussed, because there was a lot of stuff discussed in that video. And also I was suffering from some like allergies, like, you know, it's spring now, so hay fever symptoms, so I was like, I got a runny nose and sneezing, so excuse me for that. But anyways, check out that video, show some support, write some comments, leave some feedback, and I really appreciate that. So that's all I gotta say. Now, the last thing I'd like to do is I'd like to give shout-outs, not necessarily birthday shout-outs, but just shout-outs to cool people, alright? That's part of the Ragin Nation. I do this quite randomly, and it's all because of interactions. If you interact with me some way, whether it be tweeting, Facebook comments, or even just YouTube comments, if something really caught my eye and meant something to me, then I would give you a shout-out. So, this shout out goes out to Matthew Levy, Luke Lengic, apologize if I pronounce your name improperly, Looper Repool, Jonathan Wheeler, Tyler Parker, Mr. Optimus Prime, and Iverson Gugisha. Thank you so much for being part of the Ragin Nation, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and keep up the good work. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this episode. Once again, check out the channels of Master RJ Veer and Alfonso Peterman. Be a part of the Alfonso Nation by subscribing, show some support, and that's all I gotta say. What do you guys think about the Cybertron, or rather the Transformers Last Night app? Do you believe that it is canon to the Transformers Cinematic Universe? There are continuity errors there, so I'm not really sure where they're going with that. Is this its own thing? Is this its own standalone thing? Or is it really connected to the Transformers Cinematic Universe? I don't think so, but you decide and let me know in the comment section below. Also, do you think that that is a packaging error, where they put an Autobot logo with Megatron's Legion class toy? Or do you think Megatron actually does some good? I think he does some good. And by doing some good, I mean fight an evil version of Optimus Prime. But that Autobot logo, do you think it's there in error? Or do you think that it's actually there because Megatron actually does enough to earn himself as an honorary Autobot? That's a little bit too much. I don't think that Megatron, knowing his personality, would actually agree to that. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this episode. Thank you so much for watching. There are more episodes to come, and make sure you stay subscribed. Bumblebee's Journey, episode 2 is coming up, and also that's all I gotta say. So thank you so much for subscribing. As always, if you enjoyed this channel and you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, @RaginNation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. With hand-to-hand weapons, but when they fought, it was more just like brawling. You know what I'm saying? It was just like them going at each other, but